All right, welcome in everyone. This is, we are going to focus today's reading on the Pisces lunar eclipse. So this is going to close out this month's eclipse season. This is, depending on where you are, it's going to be August 28th or 27th. And this is at 4 degrees in Pisces. And it's a partial eclipse with the corresponding sun in Virgo. So because it's in Pisces, which is a water sign, there's going to be a big focus on our emotional body. We're probably going to feel this strongly in the emotions. So I just wanted to talk about some of the themes and also what I was picking up intuitively about this. A lot of people have already started to feel it. I know I have. I even feel the last 2 weeks really starting in. The emotions have really been very strong and intense. You could call the word purging, but I don't necessarily like that word because people immediately feel maybe dense emotions and immediately feel like something's wrong. And they tend to resist emotional, waves. And that's something I saw intuitively. I was seeing these waves, and it's like these big surges coming in. But really the water of the Piscean energy tied to this eclipse is really helping us to allowing things to finally leave our system. And I want to say, yes, we want to feel the feelings, but there's a key element here where people are like, well, I'm feeling my feelings, but it's still it's like this pattern or these old emotions that just keep coming up over and over, and I can't, it just doesn't end. And the thing here is, and that's why I've always been an advocate for a therapy called IFS. Check it out. You can Google it. I have done a lot of work spiritually, energetically, and also tactically with therapies throughout probably over 20 years. And that was the key that really did the deep dive to the root of things and helped me to really find parts of myself that just were so deep that even doing sometimes hypnosis or energy work just wasn't getting to that deep part. So it's about really honoring the feeling, but then asking that feeling like it's a separate person. What is this feeling asking from me? Most of the time, that part of you that is holding the feeling needed something at the time of that trauma that it never got. It could have been a reoccurring trauma of something, let's say in childhood, where you needed something from your, parental figures emotionally that you never got. And it really created something that really triggers you continuously throughout this lifetime, especially in relationships. So a lot of old grief, old relationship emotions, old versions of yourself, old disappointments, old dreams that didn't work out. This stuff is going to be re-triggered. I like the word that came up, emotional composting. So it's something that's completed its purpose and it's being broken down so that you can use it for something else or for it to become and kind of transform into something else. And compost, right? We take garbage, but in the end, we turn it back into soil that literally creates, right? That creates new life, that creates new, you can put a seed in it and it's going to grow new things, wonderful things, and we can use it for new positive ways. So I like that term. So emotions, and another key to this, especially with water and intensity when it comes to emotions, is surrendering. Knowing that you need to just surrender to what is the process that's happening, not trying to fight it, not trying to resist it, not trying to understand it or get a handle on it, or even understanding, like, what do I need to know from this? The whole surrender, the need to know. And that's key, because what's happening, a lot of times the human mind wants to understand it, wants to analyze it, wants to know where am I going. Also because this is going to start removing layers of the self, which is going to start shifting your perspective on your life, on the external world. And it's definitely going to bring up new desires, new yearnings, new passions, new things you want to do, things that no longer work for you, that no longer align with you. And it's like maybe you're still in this limbo stage of this processing where it's like, well, what do I need to do moving forward now? Or what direction do I need to go? This need to know right now, especially leading through the rest of 2026. That's where we're headed. We're headed in the space of liminal, energetic, dimensionals, higher dimensions, where it's like, it's being in the moment. Life is forcing us. The more you become aware, the higher vibration you kind of vibrate, the more you want to just be in the moment. The more you want to just focus on spending your moments doing things that you love, that bring you joy, that inspire you. And you get out of this whole old human template of needing to constantly figure out the future. Like you're constantly, whatever you're doing in the now moment is to create some sort of result or to control an outcome. Or you're too focused on the past and you're bringing the past forward because you're so afraid of the past that you're trying to control the now to prevent the same thing from happening. It's that's the old kind of stuck wheel that we've been kind of manipulated to be in. And that's what we need to realize. That was a whole manipulation of our consciousness, of our mental body or emotional body. We've been infused with programs, narratives that keep us stuck in the wheel, because when we're stuck in the wheel, we are not reaching our highest potential. We're being, restricted. And in restriction, it creates conflict, it creates anxiety and distortion and fears. So that's what we're breaking free from. So another thing, because of exactly what I just said, Pisces really is about the unconscious. It's about fantasy and dreams, but it can also lean on illusions. Seeing things that aren't real or seeing things in a distorted way. So this is probably one of the strongest things, is this idealization of something, projections, fantasy. It's like it can be a little bit about denial, where we are seeing what we want to see only. And we're creating a story, or we're creating kind of a narrative of what we're seeing because it supports either our fears, it supports our attachments, our codependencies, our need to control the external world. So when eclipses happen, something that has been really blurry or unclear or distorted can all of a sudden be clear. It's like the eclipse is clearing any veil, it's thinning the veil, it's clearing any distortion or disillusions, and we start to really see things. It's like we're forced to see things as they are for their truth. So that can be relationships, realizing that an old dream or an old thing that you felt like, no, this is my highest happiness, I need this. You actually start realizing, oh, this isn't really what I thought it was, or it's not really meeting what my soul wants. Also, where we romanticize the past as well, or that term limerence, where we kind of, again, create this fantasy about someone or something, and it keeps us attached. Seeing where we've outgrown things or had wishful thinking. So intuition versus wishful thinking. also it's like we start to see the difference there. So of course, when that happens, the next thing is there's an ending of an old energetic identity, right? It's like the old identity that we had created based on an attachment, a codependency, a dream that we had, an environment we're in, the people we're around, and realizing that this isn't actually who we really are. And as we clear distortions and disillusionment, we start to realize, oh, so, okay, now that I know this isn't me or this doesn't vibe, what does vibe? And who am I now? And what is it my heart and soul and intuition calling for me? What version of myself is completing? And now I can create the new version that's more aligned with my truth, my soul, and my true dreams. And that's where the key to is surrendering to not knowing is like, it's not like this is all going to all figure itself out in one day. Eclipses really just ignite kind of a seed point of energy that starts to grow within us. And eclipses can really continue to evolve and continue to affect us throughout the whole year till the next eclipse season. So remember, you're forming a new identity, but it hasn't fully formed yet. So don't get too impatient or like, I need to figure this out. That's where the key is surrendering. So, we're finally leaving, things are finally leaving your system, but they're also assisting and supporting you and like moving forward in a new and better way and building a new path, which represents your life. And you can kind of be the creative artist now. All right, so, and especially with Piscean, you need to not be too push ourselves to be in this like doingness energy. Like this isn't a time to just do, or what do I need to do, right? What do I need to do to not feel this way? What do I need to do to take advantage of this? What do I need to do to push my life forward or to make changes? This is about beingness and just being in the energy, allowing it to unfold in its own divine time. And what if the best transformation and the best changes can really happen through just allowing things to unfold, but allowing things like rest, allowing yourself to just listen to your inner world, to the voice of your intuition, allowing yourself to dream, to grieve, to receive, and be quiet enough to hear yourself and to really be able to hear your higher self and your intuition and your guides and what your soul's really calling out for you to do. And also picking up, because there's the Pisces is a lot of creative energy. So this is a great time to utilize this energy to create. You're going to be inspired by things. Your emotions are going to inspire you. And a great way to help them process and keep moving is to use creative methods to do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started with the reading. I talked a lot, but there's a lot around this eclipse that I wanted you guys to be aware of. So let's pull some cards to see what we need to really focus on and what the guidance is for this eclipse. So I have the Priestess Oracle here. I have Seshet, Stellar Memory, Celestial Intelligence, and Divine Legacy. So your higher dimensional memory, your connection to your higher self is going to really be activated. So there's the ability to truly connect and utilize and work with your higher self right now. You're getting divine intelligence and being able to utilize it. So this is a big key right now. We have Osiris, death and rebirth, transformation, resurrection. Definitely. This is what is happening really from the emotional body out into the physical. We are resurrecting. So there's a death of the old self, of the old identity, and we're transforming, and then we're resurrecting ourselves anew. And this is about resurrecting the new you that's aligned again with authenticity. It's not about, we want to get away from the old patterns of like the identity you created because this is what you thought everyone wanted you to be. The identity that you created to maintain like certain connections, family dynamics, a feeling of needing to belong, or a fear of disconnection. So that's usually the root of why we do that, is a fear of disconnection, of losing connections. So we, again, create our identity. We create our dynamics. We create how we show up in the world as the mask, right? What is this mask I need to create, or how do I need to show up? And a lot of it can be around, your identity is created because of your fear or what people have expected from you since childhood. And that's where the programming comes in. And then Diamond Dimension, Christ-like, crystal consciousness, divine love. There's a lot of protective energy right now being activated for all of us individually. So as we go through this process, just again, that surrender and knowing that we are divinely protected, that we're being divinely guided, and everything's going to work out as it should for everyone involved, not just yourself, but everyone involved. And Chris, there's a lot about consciousness coming through, higher dimensional consciousness and divine love shifting our perspective on what love is as well. Okay, I'm going to move on to the Starseed Oracle perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. Yes, so we need to shift our perspective. And if we're being emotionally triggered, this isn't about focusing too much on the person or the environment or the physical world right now. And that's again going back to like zooming out and seeing why things are really happening. Hyrith, longing for home, homesick for the stars. I think a lot of us right now too are being redirected. We're realizing that a life that we created, or even a location we're living, a relationship that we've called home for a long time, we're realizing that this isn't actually our true home, and our soul is I almost see this ignition that's been happening all of 2026 of our souls just igniting, and us finally, it's like our soul is asking for us to kind of clear all of these layers that aren't really us, clearing out the life that we weren't meant to live. And if this is happening for you, it's because you came down here into this incarnation and this reality to live you had, part of your mission was to realize at some pinpointed timeline that you were meant to come down here and really create this reality that aligns more with higher dimensions. And we're shifting the templates, right? We're shifting the old templates out of these old things that we, as humans, this is the template you have to live by. But we've realized that these templates have kept us stuck, have kept us small, has disconnected us from our souls. And we haven't really been able to utilize and find our full power in human form. And that's what we're opening up to. And lastly, I remember soul plan, the fated life versus the destined life. Look at that. That just confirmed what I just said. So we are not just, at the fate of something that we have no control over. Part of it's destiny, but part of it is something that we knew. We knew we came down here. We were fated to create the new templates. We're fated to start building the new earth reality. And your soul has a higher plan here. And I really feel with this eclipse now closing out, we're going to start to learn, our memories are going to be activated from a soul level, and we're going to start to remember a lot more. Okay. Lots of activations. Crown chakra. Yes, definitely that, with the memory. Crown chakras activation. Triumph, success. A lot of clarity with the eclipses. So we're getting activated in the crown, which is activating and opening up our memory, our more higher, our soul memory, not physical memory. We're gaining more intelligence from our higher self. And so some of our skills and abilities are going to be activating more and coming online. And getting a lot of clarity and truth coming in from this information coming down. And then look at that, the light, of course. This is a very divine. What's really happening with the eclipses is so higher up, so energetic. But it's like you almost start seeing things, right? Look at her. She's looking and seeing the light. And she's reaching up because she's like, oh, I see now. I'm starting to see things more clearly with that ace. Solitude. A lot of wisdom, putting puzzle pieces together. It's like the book of our soul, the book of the Akashic records, whatever it is. We're getting access to more information and wisdom that we're able to process and start to understand. Stand your ground, definitely. This is a time to really be doing what's right for yourself, what's respectful of you, what have you, maybe, for example, where have you been self-abandoning all your life? And a lot of self-abandonment happens in our relationships. Where have I abandoned myself to people please, to please my partner, to maintain this relationship? And where have I disrespected myself? But this is about really standing up for your soul, for your heart, for what you believe in, for what you want to create, your dreams, and emotional loss. So here's the emotions coming up. Here's the grief, even grief around realizing that what you've created isn't really what you want. So there can be some grief and sadness about the time you've wasted or things you actually did, the decisions you made in your life. But this isn't just about this lifetime. There's definitely what's coming up too is alternate lifetimes, alternate experiences that you're having. And also the collective, right? We're working to help integrate collective emotions, the collective consciousness. So there's a lot there. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to get some last general guidance. Okay, we got temptation, which is the devil. And then rejoice in celebration. So I know this is really high level, but really that's the point of the readings, is for us to get a different, higher perspective of what's going on. Because as a human, we tend to just try and decipher what's going on based on what we see, what we experience. But there's so much more going on behind the scenes, right? Energetically. And when we can get that awareness of why things are unfolding the way they are in the physical, or why am I feeling the way I'm feeling, it makes we can work through things with more ease and grace and have a better understanding, not feel like we're going crazy, or that, it kind of helps us at least it helps me, but I do feel like it helps people in general navigate this experience of life. So this devil or temptation card, really what's happening is where this represents our fears. It can also represent karmic loops. So we are really addressing the root, because a lot of what we are, again, identity, personality, the way we react to life, the way we just make decisions, the way we act, the way we think, a lot of it is based on a root of a fear. And these, we're finally digging down to the root. These eclipses are really getting deep. And we're actually, with this Ace of Swords card, we're getting down to the root, and we are really seeing the truth behind certain things from like a surface level layer, and we're gaining the wisdom, okay? And we're starting to understand and put things together, and also decide, like, I don't want to be in this loop anymore. I don't want to be in this karmic loop. I don't want to live the same way on the hamster wheel of life, right? It's like what everyone else is doing. They're just stuck on the rat race. They're stuck on the hamster wheel of life, dealing with the same challenges, the same suffering, the stress, all the same things, the relationship patterns, the lack of fulfillment, whatever it is. And we're not accepting anymore, but that's just how it is, right? We're not accepting the old narrative of, well, life isn't about, desires and fulfillment. It's about hard work. It's about just, getting by. It's about taking care of business. It's about, well, you get married and you never get divorced, so you tolerate abuse, or you tolerate inequality. You tolerate someone who has never known how to meet your needs and never will. So and this too, rejoice and celebration. So 3 cups, this is about connections. So that's the key here to our fears. The key is we've been stuck in loops, most people in the collective, because we need each other, right? We are a species that needs connection. We work as a connected group. We need connection. It's the basis of our survival. And I guess the detriment is that we've stayed in relationships, we've stayed in a collective, whether it's family or friend groups or relationships, because out of fear, right? Because out of codependency or attachment. But we're learning that relationships can actually be fulfilling. They can actually support our growth. They can support our evolution energetically. And they can really fill our cup, right? The big cup in the background. Do our relationships really fill our cup? Or are we in relationships that take and take? And we have to show up in a way that's not truly us. It's not in a way that we feel is right. It doesn't align with our beliefs, but we do it because there's a part of us that justifies the relationship. It justifies, and a lot of it has to do with our fear. Our fear is leading us and forcing us to justify ourselves to stay, and justify why staying is worse than leaving, or staying over saying, you know what, I'm going to put some distance here, or this doesn't serve me. But this eclipse is really asking us to redefine connection and relationship. So it could be redefining how we show up, and also, again, the types of connections we have. So a lot there. And then let's see, what was I gonna do Ace of Swords here, so let's see. Transformation. So this is the Death card. We got Death and Rebirth already. So this is a major transformative time for us. There's something really that the old identity is ending, the old us. Something is really shifting how it's gonna appear in your life, and it's more has to do with your internal shifts. And then, yes, look at this, passion ignited. So we have two aces here. We have the Ace of Wands and then the Ace of Swords. So we are being resurrected here. And this card, so we have Osiris, which is death and rebirth, transformation and resurrection, which I see in these two cards. We have death, rebirth, and this resurrection is the resurrection of our true self, the resurrection of our passion, our desire, our joy, all the things that we suppressed or that we pushed away or that we told ourselves, we can't have that. We can't focus on that because, again, those are old templates. Those are old narratives that we've been sold as humanity from our parents, from our ancestors, from the collective, from society. But it really was to suppress our power, and our power is coming back to us. We are reconnecting back to our true potential here. We can't even fathom the level of our power, of our abilities, of the life we could create here in this physical reality. And that's what's happening now. We're starting to really yearn for that. And the only way we can move above the ceiling that we're currently at is to realize, like, hey, there is a ceiling here. And there's more than that I know that I can experience. There's more that I can create. There's more abilities, and there's more I can create. So it's opening up. I've been talking about this. It's opening up the impossible. We're seeing that the impossible is now possible for us. All right. And that really is what 2026 is about, is breaking this whole concept of the impossible. And that whether it's, oh, I can never experience that or have that, or, you know what, that's just wishful thinking, or, relationships have to be hard work. You're never going to find the perfect partner. And this whole concept of perfect is also right. It's all perspective. But I feel like all of those beliefs that we've been sold are really for us to stay small instead of helping us grow to great heights. So before we go, I'm going to pull one Gaia Oracle just to get a general energetic collective theme for this lunar eclipse, and what is the big message here for this specific lunar eclipse. Okay, so we have the Temptress: seduction, deceit, a broken promise. So I think this really more, because this is high level, this is around this eclipse, this is not specific about, dealing with a deceitful partner. What this is, which I talked about at the beginning of the reading, is about the deceit that our own minds, our own fears has created that really has deceived us. And for one, part of that can be, this is coming from parts of ourselves, our inner world. And the seduction can also be, we've been seduced by our fears into relationships or into jobs, careers, out of fear. Whether it's, you didn't see yourself as worthy, you didn't think that you could really, maybe you didn't have the confidence in yourself, or maybe you just like, well, I need to have a specific title because that's what people, I want to, like, my ego here is ruling, and my ego wants me to have this special title because I need to feel special. But it's not really doing it for you. It's not really what your soul is meant for you to do. I'll read a little bit about it. So this book, I feel like the card can be more, specific to the individual talking about being deceived, but we need to look at it from a collective view. So you're being seduced with the dazzling promises that most likely will not eventuate. In effect, you're being deceived, enticed into accepting something that will cause you much difficulty and lead only to disappointment. So this again is happening in your internal parts. So you are accepting something because, again, you are justifying, maybe accepting, the minimum. You are settling. And it is because you have been deceived and you are accepting something that is, again, not what you deserve. You're accepting something that has created a lot of difficulty and suffering in your life and has always and continuously disappointed you. Don't be deceived by the glitz and glamour, which to me is the external world. The external world likes to use glitz and glamour. They like to use our emotions to deceive us as well, whether it's social media, whether it's, the beauty industry, whether it's relationships, people. And things are not always what they seem to be. And that's where we're getting to the truth, right? We're getting clarity. And the masks are coming off. So that's another big one. The masks are coming off. We're going to start seeing people for who they really are and seeing that this person is also not authentic. They are also manipulating or doing all sorts of things to try and maintain a facade or maintain a relationship or to seem as if they're credible or seem as if they're loving and they care about people. But in reality, we're starting to cut through all of that distortion. And the temptress entices with her sensuous beauty and exotic surroundings. Yet just behind her is the all-seeing eye of truth. Right behind this card is the Ace of Swords, the Truth card. Take a few steps back, look at things from an objective and balanced perspective, and the real picture and a hidden agenda will finally emerge. So this eclipse is going to start emerging truth. It's going to start emerging reality. And the facade, whether it's in our lives, whether it's in the collective, our governing bodies, on the world stage, the facades are starting to break down. All right, big stuff here, big stuff. But eclipses always bring the big energy. So thanks everyone for joining in. I hope this helps. Definitely, take care of yourselves this week as usual. The Pisces lunar eclipse, there's going to be a lot of emotions are going to be high. They're going to come in like waves and just allow it to happen. And don't feel like, a lot of bad things are going to happen. It's just allowing us to come up to transform. I will see you in the next reading, everyone. Bye for now.